Socrates was one of the most famous Greek philosophers and has had probably one of the biggest impacts on the education that we know today. There's actually some controversy even about who Socrates was. Basically, everything we know about him is through his student Plato, and both were huge parts of the school of thought known as idealism, which basically believes that truth is innate in all of us. Humans are inherently good and know right from wrong, and through introspection and self-reflection, we're able to find the truths about those morals and about reality. In one of the articles I mentioned in my handout, Gustavo Batista describes Socrates' background as this. Socrates' person puts a philosopher in a quite strange problem, but full of sense. All the history of Greek philosophy is traditionally organized around his name, and we do not know who Socrates really was. There is no history of Greek thought, but in function of Socrates' character and history does not allow us to make of him a historic character. So some background about what some of the underpinnings of Socrates' thinking. He was big on the importance of dialogue, meaning that the conversation between two people, whether they be of the same class, one person being an expertise or a professional or mentor to the student, through dialogue, we're able to challenge each other's ideas and assumptions. And when we challenge those ideas, we can move towards what we would know as reality about what is true and what is not. Because he's an idealist, Socrates believed that truth is unchanging and universal. It's true across the whole world, and he rejects moral relativism, which basically is the idea that what is moral and what is right and what is wrong really depends on the societal values of the civilization that you're currently in. And he rejects that idea because he believes that what is right and wrong never changes. So some of the biggest impacts that Socrates has had is one on his Socratic method. The Socratic method is a systematic questioning dialogue between two people where the questions are designed to facilitate independent thinking in students by challenging the assumptions that they have and getting them to understand their own ignorance about a topic. And he believes once you're able to establish that ignorance, you can then build off of that and teach what is true knowledge and therefore come to a better consensus about the argument. We see this a lot in education today, in scaffolding and reciprocal teaching, and debates and cross-examinations or self-reflective assignments. Knowing what you know and more importantly, what you don't know is very important for learning. Another aspect that we can attribute to Socrates is the idea of mentorship, that teachers should be role models. In elementary school and throughout all school, we all, especially in America, believe that teachers should be role models. And when you get into higher education, such as college, there's opportunities to be a teacher assistant where you work under the direct tutelage of a professor. And that's the idea of mentorship, of following somebody who's more expertise in order to build your own expertise and then continue that teaching later on using the ideas that teacher put in you. And the last is seeking truth. Seeking truth is a humongous part of education. We focus on education, or we focus on research. We focus on finding information and analyzing information and questioning information to find out what is true and what is not. We see that in all parts of education in America, especially when you look at the curriculum that is often taught in schools that focuses on liberal arts and science, which are things that Socrates pushed for directly because they navigate through information and work to sort out and discern what the truth is and what is not. Some of the biggest criticisms of Socrates are that Aristotle, who was a realist, believed that the truth is not innate in humans and that it has to be discovered through observation, interaction, and analysis of the environment around us. Some others say that the Socratic method is a trap and that it's designed to confuse the person that it's used on in order to win an argument or conversation. This was the biggest complaint from sophists, which were the common adversary of Socrates. And he described that as cognitive dissonance, which is essentially when you realize that your own thinking is wrong, you want to reject that. But that confusion shouldn't be confused with malice. It should be embraced and understood, and it should form what you think. Lastly, idealism believes in a lot of perfect forms of beings, and a philosopher named Parmenides once challenged Socrates, saying, okay, if that is true, then is there a perfect form of evil? Is there a perfect form of human excrement? Is there a perfect form of bad things as well? And basically, Socrates couldn't come up with an answer to that question. What people have theorized is that that there isn't a perfect form of evil. Evil is the absence of a perfect form of good. So that has a lot of philosophical implications, and it's something that I think that people are still debating with today. My name is Drew Colgrove. This was my educational thinker presentation, and I thank you very much.